Over here at Scentsense Incorporated, I feel that we're trying to increase our female audience. Today we'll be talking about a brand new release from the house of Roja, and the fragrance we're talking about, well, just stay tuned. What's going on, fellow fragrance aficionados? My name is Joshua, and this is your channel, yes, yours, Scentsense. To the people who continue to come back each and every day and continue to watch the onslaught of videos I've been releasing, I appreciate you. And to all you new people who may be checking the channel out for the very first time, this is a safe place. If you're gonna be a pretentious, crude, crass jerk, you might as well just stop right now. Today we'll be talking about a brand new female release, that's right, brand new female release that will be releasing next month from the house of Roja. Roja, I'm so sorry if I'm saying your name wrong, sir, but you know, at the end of the day, I don't know how it's supposed to be pronounced. I don't think anybody else does, but it's a cool name, regardless. And the fragrance we're talking about is Elixir. So number one, I know it's a female fragrance, and number two, I know you guys know I'm not big on packaging. But alas, I'm married, I have a wife, and she's the one who's been wearing this, and she's the one who's been helping me test this. So I'm not gonna sit here and break down each individual note. I'm not going to tell you every little in and out of any nuance that some other female reviewers may tell you about. But at the end of the day, I'm gonna tell you if it's worth the buy and if I think you should go check it out. But regardless, you have an opinion, you can formulate it on your own. So let's start off with the presentation. As you can see on the box, it says Elixir here with the name Roja Parfums. On the back, it has a bunch of information that most people don't care about. Cool part about this box is on the very bottom, there's this gold inlay, and it's a spot where you take your finger in. My finger's not long enough, so let's just pull it the rest of the way out. As you can see, everybody, it's got a nice gold box that it sits inside. It's got this plush, as Steven from Redolescence would say, opulent bedding on the inside of the box that the bottle rests in. It's got a nice little cushion spot, you know, for it to be nice and velvety and surrounded by luxury. It's a very beautiful bottle. As you can see, it's got this lush, slight soft pink coloration to it that gradiates down to clear. It's got the name in gold, Elixir. It's got that cool logo. And of course, the name of the fragrance brand, Joshthibs here, Joshthibs on the top cap. And of course, you know, just a beautiful, beautiful, heavy, solid cap. Although I don't see why this is relevant, some people care. Yep, you can hold it up by the cap. Side note, one thing that I really like to do, if I find a fragrance that I really like, I like to see if there's a female version, that way I can get it from my wife. Because so far, ironically, the ones that I like from males, they have a female counterpart, and the female counterpart is actually not that bad, or usually really good. So, to go with my male, there's the female. So me and my wife, we got it together. I do think it's funny how this one's like tall and slender and how this one's like short and boxy. It's just like, you know, I think it's kind of funny, you know, but at the end of the day, they're both very, very beautiful bottles. So let's go ahead and spray a little mist in the air so we can tell you what we think. Right off the bat, we get a juicy, fruity, zesty smell that meets head on with a slightly thick but kind of smooth floral presence. It's like a mash, a smash of both worlds, and both of these bodies, if you will, fruits and flowers, are vying for our attention. I'll go ahead and leave the notes somewhere on the screen, but there are a lot of them, so it might take a little while. We might get like a couple little glimpses with some cool B-roll. And for all you people who care about notes and note breakdowns and top, mid, and base and how a fragrance progresses, and you don't just distinctly base a fragrance and your opinion on it on how you feel it smells, I'll go ahead and leave those notes on the screen somewhere. After a while, from what my wife told me, what she really gets is a softer, more suitable floral base, and a juicy, juicy fruit presence. She couldn't really articulate to me exactly what she was smelling, but after talking with her a while and looking at the notes, I could see the one note that has a stark, stark presence in her mind and into her nose, and also to mine, is the raspberry note. If I was to paint a picture that you could visualize of what this smells like, the best way I could describe it is if you imagined a rose that was closed up, and then as it opened up, a raspberry just shot right out the top. And it just was moist, and it had morning dew on it, and it was fresh smelling, and that's exactly what I get from this. It's like a floral bouquet with this great, sweet, soft, charming, alluring raspberry note. Now, I've been talking about how my wife feels about it. I'd like to talk a little more about how I feel about it, but before I do, I'm gonna put a disclaimer on the screen, and I'll give you a few seconds to read it. Okay, so now that that's over with, let's get back to how I feel about it. Unbiasedly, unapologetically, this, in my opinion, is the best female fragrance that I have ever smelled in my personal life. I've smelled some offerings from the female side, or fragrances that were unisex that were sent to me for review, like Moscow Mule, Damascus Rose from Alexandria Fragrances, lots of different ones like that I just could not stand. I've said that Moscow Mule smells like bug spray. I think it leans more femme. My wife likes it, but I currently and will probably always hate it. So I guess the point I'm trying to make is I feel that my track record when it comes to fragrances should speak for itself when I tell you. If I tell you that this is the best one I've ever smelled, I'm probably not BSing you. So I'll go ahead and read to you from my tablet here what Roja says about this fragrance and their way of describing it. Fragrance is like a magical elixir, invisible. A single drop, bloop, can transform you into a goddess. It has the power to make you feel irresistible, confident, and seductive. Feeling that makes you feel that anything is possible. The magical elixir exudes effortlessly sensuality, giving you the power to light up a room, to leave an impression, and to get what you want. So, no offense to Roja or any other brand that's out there, I find that when they put out these descriptions of the fragrance, that they're quite over the top, a little, pushing it a little bit, but when it comes to this one, it's kind of close. When my wife wears this fragrance, I feel like she's the most important person in the room. She's always the most important person in the room, but at the end of the day, this just cements that. I love you, babe. Well, having said that, when it comes to how I feel about it, I feel that the way she smells will garner the same attention from everyone else in the room. Now, my wife is a teacher, and she does teach special needs children, but a lot of them thinks that she smells fantastic, and they all tell Miss Emily that she smells so beautiful. And one of her students said, "Miss Emily, you smell like a pretty flower." So kudos to you, Roja, for making a fragrance that makes children, adults, and males alike think it smells great. So one important thing I want to touch upon when it comes to these two fragrances right here is that when it comes to niche perfumery and it comes to getting into it, usually it's quite hard. It can be quite cumbersome because a lot of the times niche perfumery finds a way to be artistic and to articulate a story and to articulate notes that you may not smell in your average designer scent. I find that these two things are perfect for people who are trying to get into the niche side of perfumery because fragrances like this are not going to be far off from what they experienced with houses such as YSL, Chanel, and more. I find that this fragrance exudes confidence, and I find that the wearer will exude confidence. And this is the kind of fragrance that makes you feel more confident. So let's get to the brass tacks and to the part that a lot of people want to know about. So as far as longevity, my wife sprayed this on at about 6:30 in the morning. She gets off of work approximately about 3:30, 4 o'clock. She made it to our babysitter's house and was there at about 5 o'clock and was able to let them sniff her wrist, and there was a faint smell that was still lingering. So nearly 12 hours left, it was still a skin scent, but it was there. Emily told me while she wore this and she was walking through school and walking down the hallways and the breezeways, lots and lots of teachers gave her compliments as she walked by. They said her smell lingered in the room. So as far as sillage, this definitely leaves a presence, especially when you've walked away and you're no longer there. It still leaves a distinct impression. And last but not least, when it comes to the big three, is projection. When she sprayed this on in the morning, I could smell her throughout the entire house. But of course, That's only 10 to 15 minutes in the morning. From what she told me, and from my experiences being around her when she wore it on the weekend, this one lasted somewhere between the 3 and a 3.5 hour mark of projection, which from what I gather from a female fragrance is pretty impressive. As we already touched upon, when it comes to compliment factor, this one definitely works, and a lot of people thought she smelled very, very nice. And one of the compliments that stuck out to me is someone said she smelled very, very alluring and important. So I guess there's some truth to all that stuff they talk about when they describe their own fragrances. As far as release date and prices, I'll go ahead and leave that on the screen. That way you can look at it and ponder if you'd like to buy this one. Fellas, listen, this is the kind of fragrance that will be perfect for a signature scent for your loved one. If you're tired of the same old when it comes to going to your local Macy's, Dillard's, Ulta, Sephora, and you want something that's gonna have a stark difference, that's gonna have its own personality, that's gonna have everything you need in a fragrance, but might also cost a little bit of money, but at the end of the day, the question you have to ask yourself is, how much is your lady worth to you? I know, people are gonna say, oh, well, Josh, that fragrance was sent to you for review. Well, I bought this one, and they cost the same from what I remember. So at the end of the day, if I was willing to buy this, I would definitely be willing to buy this. So I'm sure you're gonna ask yourself, which I just touched upon, would I buy this? The answer is undoubtedly yes. When it comes to wearability and versatility, I find that this fragrance will work for you in any occasion. I think this will work as a daily wear because the floral notes, although some of them are dense, tend to get lighter and lighter throughout the day and have a great presence. They may be light, but they do command attention. I also think this would be great for a date night. I think this would be great for a special occasion such as a wedding or maybe a dinner or maybe a special night out with the family. I think this is a showstopper. While I haven't gotten into a lot of the offerings from the house, besides this one and Elysium and maybe Creation E, I know that this shows me that someone who is like myself, who is now starting to really get into niche, that Roja is a house that's all about quality over quantity. So in closing, guys, if you're looking for a fragrance that's gonna impress your lady and that shows her that you really do think she's worth $1 million and that she's worth the finer things in life, you should definitely go check out Roja's Elixir. And ladies, it's 2019 and I know a lot of y'all are strong, independent ladies, and if you wanna continue to smell like a strong, independent lady and you wanna spend a little extra money on yourself and buy yourself one of the finer things in life, Elixir will definitely work for you too. All right, everyone, that about wraps it up for me. I want to thank you so much for stopping by, ladies and gents alike. I hope you enjoyed this review and I hope you learned a little bit of something. I'll go ahead and leave some links in the description below that can maybe give you a little more information about this fragrance, maybe a couple of things that you'd like to know about it as far as price, presence, and availability. Last but not least, go ahead and smash that notification bell. That way when my videos come out, you people will be the first to know. And as always, I'll smell you later. Peace!